The President of the United States is calling for the execution of 6 members of Congress who have served in the military and recently made a video telling current service members that it is okay to disobey illegal orders.
Our laws are clear. You can refuse illegal orders.
Why are they telling members of the military you don't have to follow illegal orders?
You can refuse illegal orders.
Why are they telling members of the military you don't need to follow illegal orders?
Right now, the threats to our Constitution aren't just coming from abroad, but from right here at home.
I don't want to hear another damn thing from any Republican member of Congress about rhetoric and turning down the temperature and yada, yada, yada. Because the President of the United States has come out and said that Democratic members of Congress should be put to death. Republican members of Congress have to come out today, immediately, not tomorrow, right now, and come out and forcefully denounce this.
Greetings, my BPPN family. Welcome to Black People Politics Network. I'm Mr. Red. Y'all just saw what we're dealing with, right? And let me tell you something right up front. None of this is normal. None of this is political strategy or tough talk or Trump being Trump. What you heard is dangerous. What you heard crosses a line that no American president has ever crossed. I want you to think about that. And don't tell me some shit about, well, he's just different, whatever. These are lines that we never cross, and there's a reason for it. And as someone who has served this country, I need you to understand something. This rhetoric doesn't just float in the air. It hits people, and some people act on it, and some people die because of it. We have much to discuss. Let's strap in. Let's get after it.
Why are elected officials sounding the alarm?
Our laws are clear. You can refuse illegal orders.
You can refuse illegal orders.
Several Democratic veterans in Congress urged service members to refuse unspecified unlawful orders. They simply said, hey, you swore an oath, and if you were given an unlawful order, you should refuse it. To which Donald Trump, of course, got very upset because he's the one issuing the unlawful orders. This is really bad and dangerous to our country. Their words cannot be allowed to stand. Seditious behavior from traitors. Lock them up. President DJT. He then went on to truth. It's called seditious behavior at the highest level. Each one of these traitors to our country should be arrested and put on trial. Their words cannot be allowed to stand. We won't have a country anymore. An example must be set. Okay, this doesn't seem like unusual behavior for him, right? Except he then retruthed the post, calling for them to be hung. The sitting president of the United States reposted someone saying that other elected officials in the United States should be hung.
That was the most disturbing thing I've ever seen.
Donald Trump just threatened to hang Democratic members of Congress and senators. This is officially the most insane and authoritarian action that Donald Trump has taken since taking the presidency in January. We've been saying that he is an authoritarian. He wants to be a king. He wants to be a dictator. And he has officially taken it to an extreme that even I did not think was possible or imaginable in the United States of America.
You don't know how those sick bastards think.
Y'all notice that every time that son of a bitch gets on that stupid amp that he got and calls for the death of any politicians on the Democratic side, that shit tends to happen a few days or a few weeks after that fat son opens his mouth, right? The House, Senate, everybody in Congress, you all need to start impeachment proceedings like right the fuck now. Because there is no way that somebody sitting in the fucking goddamn White House should be saying anything about any fucking goddamn politicians putting their lives at risk or anything like that.
All right, let me talk to you all plainly from the perspective of someone who wore the uniform and took this oath seriously. You don't talk to military members the way Donald Trump is talking. You don't threaten to hang elected officials. You don't accuse sitting members of Congress of sedition with absolutely no evidence. You don't rile up unstable people with violent fantasies and then pretend that you didn't mean it. This man has never served. I want y'all to remember that shit. He's been rich his whole entire life. He's never had to look somebody in the eye and tell them to follow you because you understand duty, honor, integrity, sacrifice, courage, which he has none of. He doesn't understand leadership. He understands power. He understands I'm rich and you're poor, so you should listen to me. And that's not a reason to listen to anyone. He understands worship. He understands ego. But what he doesn't understand is people. And none of these billionaires do. They're out of touch. Even the worst leaders I had, and trust me, I've had some bad leaders, even they didn't speak this way. Even they created at least the illusion of standards, because in the military, your example matters. Your tone matters. The higher you go, the more your voice becomes oxygen that people breathe and depend on. Our lives depend on it. People have already died. Congressional staffers, police officers, innocent Americans. And you mean to tell me, after all of that, this man still gets on True Social and says things that sound like a dictator prepping his followers for violence? This is not leadership.
Did you see it? Darling, more of this. More of this. S'il vous plaît. Yes, I know it's s'il vous plaît. I know. But since Big Stinky got up today and decided to literally call for the you-know-what of people who tell other people that they should seek legal counsel instead of following unlawful you-know-whats, like he got up and was like, you're a traitor. If you tell people they can seek legal help, you're a traitor. If you tell people they don't have to fulfill unlawful orders, you're a traitor.
Right now, the threats to our Constitution aren't just coming from abroad, but from right here at home.
What do they know is coming?
You must refuse illegal orders.
Are they about to get illegal orders? Why are elected officials who served in the military telling military members,
don't give up.
Don't give up. Don't give up the ship.
Why? I appreciate the message, don't get me wrong, but why do they feel a need to say this now?
I think I know why.
It's all in the emails. If you want to know why the President of the United States of America sent billions of dollars to Argentina, it's in the emails. Look at this. By the way, Argentina next to collapse. Whole South America, Brazil, Venezuela, Argentina don't know why they are so dirty given the fact that there are so many maids. Soon to be best investment of a lifetime. I wonder what billions of dollars would get you. Venezuela, more oil reserves than Saudi. So predictable. This should stop the world. There are so many emails where he's emailing back and forth or messaging back and forth with whoever because it's redacted. And he's talking about things that are about to happen. He's talking about getting political figures removed from their offices.
How do you actually remove Donald Trump and his entire cabinet from office? The answer is right in the U.S. Constitution, Article 2, Section 4. That clause gives Congress the power to impeach and remove the president, the vice president, cabinet officials, and even federal judges if they're found guilty of treason, bribery, or other high crimes and misdemeanors. People often mention the 25th Amendment, but that only applies when a president is physically or mentally unfit to serve. Article 2, Section 4 goes much further. It is the constitutional tool for removing an entire administration when corruption or abuse of power comes into play. Here's how it works. The House of Representatives brings charges through impeachment. The Senate then holds a trial. If 2/3 of the Senate votes to convict, those officials are removed from office immediately. So where do we come in? By speaking up, we call, right, and pressure our representatives and senators to demand accountability. When citizens make noise the right way through legal, constitutional action, change can happen. Even inside the Republican Party, a few voices are starting to break away from MAGA loyalty. And let's be real, corruption isn't limited to one side of the aisle. What matters is that we hold everyone accountable.
Now let's zoom out for a second because something interesting is happening here, and we just saw it. You've got veterans, active duty folks, military family, people who don't normally jump into politics. And certainly most of the military is actually conservative and or Republican. Suddenly these people are saying, hey, don't follow illegal orders. And that's not something you say casually. That is not something you say unless real shit is about to hit the fan. So we have to ask the obvious questions. What do they know that we don't? What are they hearing? What is happening behind closed doors that is causing so many of these military voices to speak up at once? And that brings us to the constitutional piece. There is a clause, there is a mechanism, there is a process for removing a president and their entire cabinet if they become a danger to the nation. And let's be honest, this cabinet knows he's unhinged. They're just too compromised by money, power, and fear to do a damn thing about it. But here's the hopeful part. People are speaking up. People are sounding the alarms, and the military, which rarely weighs in on civilian politics, is clearly preparing for the possibility that Trump might try something illegal, immoral, or dangerous. And that tells me two things. We're not alone in this danger, and there are still adults in the room.
Shout out to those members of Congress. I'm sure they would appreciate a phone call from all of the Americans who don't believe that their video telling service members to defy illegal orders, we don't think that's treason, and we don't think they deserve execution. So I'm sure they would appreciate a phone call from people all across the country, letting them know that what the President of the United States is calling for is illegal and is treasonous.
I call on every single Republican member of Congress. Speaker Mike Johnson needs to denounce this and condemn this immediately. Every Republican leader, every person with a platform, this is not a partisan issue. If you cannot speak up and condemn Donald Trump right now for this insane incitement of violence, then history will not remember you well.
The legislators who were named as traitors for, reminding folks that they can seek legal counsel and they don't have to follow unlawful order, specifically the veterans that are in the legislature right now, put out that video saying loudly and clearly, you have a duty to refuse what is unlawful. Saying no to a narcissist? Darling, them's fighting words. That roller coaster, it's hitting that peak. It's about to go down.
This is the moment where every American, regardless of party, has to pick a side. Not Republican and not Democrat, not conservative or liberal, not MAGA and not anti-MAGA. No, a side between stability and chaos, between leadership and lawlessness, between democracy and something uglier. Chris Murphy said it best. You cannot claim to care about this country and stay silent when a man with this much influence is openly encouraging violence against his own government. This is it, y'all. This is the moment. And history will remember who stood up and who looked away.
We are at a very dangerous moment right now. The president is engaged in the wholesale incitement, endorsement, and rationalization of political violence in this country. This is a very slippery slope that we are on. This is a moment for people to step up, for Republicans to step up, for business leaders to step up. Anybody who has a voice or a soapbox in this country needs to draw a line in the sand and say that it is not acceptable for the President of the United States to call on the murder of his political opposition.
Stay vigilant, stay engaged, stay revolutionary.